Okay. So there's not very many of us, but I'm grateful for everyone who's here. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm sure there will be some other people who join us. So the point of this meeting is to kind of talk a little bit about the volunteer program and some opportunities that we have with the foundation. So with it being a much smaller group, if you have questions during the presentation, please just raise your hand. These two front mics are also hooked up so I can hear you, so you don't have to walk all the way up here for me to hear you. That's an option. But let's go ahead and get started. So just kind of an overview of what I'm talking about. So we're gonna give an overview of the program, the process of becoming a volunteer if you're not currently a volunteer, and then I'm introducing a recognition program for us this year, and then what we need help with. So just a little bit more introduction about me. So this is my family. So you may have seen probably my son, maybe my wife, wandering around yesterday for lunch and today for lunch. So my wife and I have been married for 3.5 years, and that's our son Jonah. We are originally from Utah. However, we just moved, well, not just, but in May we moved back from Washington, D.C. when I took the position here at the foundation. I did my undergrad here in Utah at Utah Valley University, and then I got my master's in public administration at the University of Utah. And then my connection with cholangiocarcinoma, so this is my Uncle Mark, which if you've been around the foundation, he's one of the primary reasons why the foundation was started. So he is the brother to Stacy Lindsay, who is my aunt. So when he was diagnosed, right, in 2006, there wasn't a lot of resources, and Stacy, organized everything. We know the story, right? She was researching and couldn't find a lot of resources, and so the foundation was born. And so that's my personal connection with cholangiocarcinoma. So for the program, if you are a current volunteer, the program is pretty much the same as it's been. It's just going to be repackaged a little bit differently. But there's 4 main parts of the program that I will quickly review. So we're going to go over recruiting, what the foundation will do for recruiting. We'll go for training, supporting, and recognizing. So with recruiting, if we could pull up the new volunteer portal real quick. So we have a brand new volunteer portal that we are introducing this year. It's going to be great. It's going to be a one-stop place for all the volunteers to go. It'll have resources, and it'll be great. So reviewing really quick. So opportunities, I'll review this a little bit, what the actual opportunities are. But if you click on that little light bulb, there will be similar job postings of what we're looking for. So right now, for example, we're looking for some discussion board moderators. We're looking for some help with our social media, there's some other things with our political advocacy with the Veterans Project and some different things I'll get into a little bit more detail. We're also introducing a newsletter that will only go for volunteers. That will be kind of an internal communication of a little bit more specifically what we're doing, what we need, and it'll be a good way for the staff, the vast staff of 4 people that we have, to communicate with our volunteers all over the world. And then the application is largely the same. Our application is digital. This is the easiest way to access it. I don't think it's currently on there, but when you go to the main page of the website, one of the 4 little logos at the top will be this new volunteer logo. So it'll be very easy to find, access the portal. If you're not a volunteer, like I said, that application is step 1, and I'll review the process later on. And then our resources here will be where our manual is. I've been working with Melinda and Patty, so if there's some Cholangio Connect resources they want to put on there for the mentoring program, or with some of the research advocacy that Melinda does, those resources will be posted there. The goal is to make this, it's where all the volunteer stuff is, so you don't have to look through your emails to find a link or any of that. So it'll all be here. Okay, can we go back to my PowerPoint? Thank you. Okay, so recruiting. One of the biggest tools we will use for recruiting is going to be the newsletter, and it will be our social media. So we'll start posting these little job postings. We will also utilize our volunteer emails a little bit better in calling for this. So if you're not on Facebook, or the newsletter gets in your spam box, whatever it is, there'll be opportunities that we will connect with you. Training, moving on to training. So right now we have really just one kind of training module that's focused around the foundation, the history of the foundation, exploring different parts of the website, but we're adding a second module to that. So these two modules, regardless of what program you are going to volunteer for, this will be a standard training for everybody. And then once you complete the training, then I will hand you off to Patty or Melinda or whoever your program manager is. So the second module is going to be kind of a guidelines for representing the foundation. We've kind of reached a new level. We're getting press, we're getting, people are watching us, and so we're just gonna, it's just a few friendly reminders that probably everybody knows, but just to standardize our training on professionalism, and I will include a style guide, so if you are in the position where you're asked to create graphics for the foundation or that sort of thing, these are the colors you use, these are the fonts you use, that sort of thing, just to kind of standardize everything. And then one key part too is there will be some social media guidelines, because as a representative of the foundation, sometimes what you post on your personal pages also becomes a representative of the foundation. And so we just want to make sure that everybody is just good and knows what is appropriate and what is maybe not so appropriate. So. Supporting, I talked about this a little bit, so we will have a quarterly newsletter that will be a communication directly to the volunteers. One new thing, this is for existing volunteers, but we will have a monthly hours survey that will go out to you each month. And this is very, very critical because now that we have a little bit more bandwidth as a staff, we are applying for more grants that require how many hours are volunteered to the foundation. So it's going to be, it's one question, I promise. It's very easy. You just have to put in how many hours, and then that in turn comes to me, and I can calculate, monthly, quarterly, yearly, so we know, okay, 15,000 hours were donated, or whatever that number is, we can have it accurate. Because in the past, we have had to, try to figure it out, and I'm sure we came way low because there's so much that's done for the foundation. So that's a really critical new part for existing volunteers, but for new volunteers, that'll just be part of the program. And then we will be doing some more checking in. My role, aside from social media, is also volunteer coordinating, and so I will be checking in your program managers. If you're like Patty, who's in regular communication with the mentors, she may not do more, but for me, for some of the administrative help, we're going to be doing some checking in, making sure you have the tools you need. If there's anything you need, we want to make sure that you have it. So, and then recognizing. So this is a part of our volunteer program that will be new, that we have not been very consistent on. So we will have a new award that will be given at the end, so at the next annual conference. That will be the Mark R. Clements Excellence in Volunteerism Award. And so the nominees for this will be nominated by your program manager, and it'll be a beautiful plaque, and it's going to go to a volunteer who contributed a lot. And we know that a lot of people contribute a lot of things, so it's very tricky to choose, which is why it'll be the board that chooses and not me. And then the second part, we're going to have a recognition program for everybody else that is going by your hour. So we'll have a bronze, silver, gold level, so it'll be a little lapel pin. Those will be presented at the next conference as well, or mailed to you if you can't attend the conference. But then the volunteers can wear, on their lanyard, right, I'm a silver volunteer, whatever. So the hours thresholds, and this is where we're starting. We'll see where we are. We may change the thresholds a little bit depending on what comes back to us. But starting, so 1 to 25 hours for the year will be a bronze level, 25 to 50 will be a silver level, and 50 plus will be a gold level. And those, like I said, those will be presented at the next annual conference, or if you're not able to attend the next annual conference, they will be sent to you. Okay, so this is for new applicants. I'm going to tell you what the process is to apply to be a volunteer. So first thing we talked about, you apply through the volunteer portal, and there's 2 modules that will be sent to you. So the first module, right, is about the foundation. Second module is some guidelines on professionally representing the foundation. And while that process is going on, we are also instituting just a simple background check. We felt as an organization it's important, especially in our mentor program, just to make sure, you know, that we're all good. And then once you've done that, and you know the background check, which comes back clean, of course, then you'll be handed off to your program director. So these are just samples. So any of our advocacy, research advocacy, any of those types of things, those go to Melinda. Social media, if you're interested in that, that'll go to me. Discussion board, Melinda. We do have some help with fundraising or marathons. That will go to Kathy. And then other administrative projects will go to myself or Donna. So sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. But so if you're an existing volunteer, the only new parts of this program are going to be the second module, the guidelines of professionally representing the foundation. That will go out to all volunteers. And you know, it's just reviewing. And then the monthly hours survey, and then the quarterly newsletter. I mentioned Cholangio Connect specifically on here because Patty's survey is slightly different. She has a couple of different questions on there. So if you're involved in the mentoring program, you won't get 2 surveys. You'll just get 1 survey from myself. It'll still come from myself, but it'll be Cholangio Connect focused. So what do we need as a foundation? We have lots and lots of needs, and it has been a kind of a big project on my end to kind of organize those needs into job applications or job postings and organizing projects that we need help with, because we have a lot of different things, especially with the conference and marathons, and there's things that go on through the year, fundraising campaigns. And so one of the biggest things that we need is patience. Sometimes we don't have projects going on all the time, but that doesn't mean that we don't want your help. It means that I need to do a little bit more organizing to make sure that you have a meaningful project to contribute. We don't just want to give busy work that we're not going to use. We want to make sure everything is meaningful and that your hours that you spend volunteering help us towards a goal. So what we need, one of the biggest things we need right now, and if you have questions about what it takes to be a discussion board moderator, we have Mary Ott. Can you raise your hand? She is a phenomenal resource with the discussion board. And if I say the word discussion board and you don't know what that means, it's a huge resource. This is where we have, thousands and thousands of posts that are patients from all over the world with different experiences. The discussion board is really what kind of launched the foundation. It's the highest trafficked part of our website by far. And so if you're not familiar with the discussion board, there are links on the main page of the website, and I encourage you to take a look. But if you do have questions about that, Mary Ott is a great resource, and she would be happy to talk to you about what is required, how you can help her, because she spends a lot of time doing it and could use some help. So administrative volunteers is next. We have a lot of different lists we need compiled and just more administrative projects. So if you're interested in administrative projects, this is one where we need a little bit of patience because we don't always have a ton of administrative projects, but when we do, it's super helpful to have people that we can just call and be like, hey, okay, I need this by Friday, can you do that? So that's administrative, and that's kind of a mixed bag of all sorts of different things. And then social media volunteers is another big thing. I spend most of my time doing social media stuff. So if you've seen an increase in activity from the foundation, that's because we have implemented a strategy, right? A lot of times it evolves around or revolves around fundraising campaigns, but and a good example of that was our Candles for the Cure. We put out a call for people to submit photos of either a loved one or themselves with a candle, and we had a huge outpouring. So that's something that's easy. Maybe you don't have a lot of time to volunteer, but if you're watching our social media and see a call for pictures, or maybe it's going to be a clip, of you saying why we should support the foundation or whatever it is, that's a huge way to help. And a lot of times we have really good, a lot of applications, I don't know, a lot of people send their photos in, but we could always use more. So that's an easy way if you don't have a lot of time or you don't have consistent time. That's something that's hugely helpful. So what else? A big thing that we can do is like and share. And I like the likes, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the likes, but sharing is even better because that expands our network. Because really the people who see the foundation posts are largely only people who follow the foundation. So, which is great, and we want to communicate to everybody who follows the foundation, but liking and sharing is a huge way to increase that reach for the foundation. Another thing is just explore the website. We have a deep website, and when I say that, I mean there's lots and lots and lots of layers. We have different programs, different initiatives that have maybe not been talked about recently, but they're still happening, and there's still a volunteer who's gathering data, like patient registry with Barbara, or there's different projects. And so I'd encourage you, if you're not familiar and you have 10 minutes at a break here or something where you don't know what to do, explore the website, because it's a huge resource. And then I talked about this, but participate in the foundation's campaign. So we largely have 3, kind of 4 campaigns during the year, plus everybody's little or smaller Facebook fundraisers or other fundraisers that happen across the country. But we have our Campaign for the Cure, which is our big one in July. We have Giving Tuesday, which is it's a little bit trickier as an organization because it's a one-day fundraiser. But we had a phenomenal. We raised like $45,000 on that one day, so it was awesome. And then we have our Candles for the Cure, which I spoke about. And then here is an opportunity for you to apply what I've spoken about. So Awareness Month is February, right? And obviously the conference is going on. So on Sunday, we're going to post the first of a series of videos. Our campaign will revolve around our 4 main groups of cholangiocarcinoma related peoples. So we've got our patients will be recognized, and many of you may have done a short interview with me, or not with me, but upstairs. The patients will be recognized the first week. The caregivers will be recognized the second week. The third week will be our medical professionals, and our fourth week will be our donors. So, great opportunity to share those videos. Videos always get a bazillion likes on Facebook, which is great, and our reach is great, but we would like to increase it even more. So that's kind of an overview, as a quick overview of the program. This is my email address. It's my first name dot last name at cholangiocarcinoma.org. I love to hear from you. If you have questions, if you are maybe you have a very particular skill set that you're interested in, seeing if there's a way we can utilize you, send that to me. And I may not at the beginning, but I code you in our database. And so maybe it'll be a year from now, maybe it'll be next week. But we do log all this information. And then again, for everybody who's done things, I just want to say a big thank you, because as a vast staff of 4 people, there's not a lot that we can do without all of the volunteers. And so we really appreciate everything that all of you have done, if you've been involved, and if you have not been involved, we invite you to become more involved. So thank you very much. And I don't know if there's any questions. Yes. Oh.
I'm not too worried about really dark things in my background, but I was looking at the mentoring application and asking for a couple of references. Just in general, are there types of references that you folks find more helpful that you would like us to look at?
So we're mostly looking for just kind of character references. So we're not, super concerned if they're, related or if it's a professional contact. It's just mostly to be just kind of a character witness. So yeah. And then, I mean, I guess if you're applying a specific skill set and your references can kind of back that up, that's always a plus, but it's not required. So, thanks.
For the time tracking, have you guys looked at either providing like a resource, like a form? I think that it's going to be more successful if people have something, like as soon as they're done, they have something to write down. So either like a form where people can do like a log, or there are like apps where you just, when you're going to be working on something, you press start and it records your time, and you press end when you're done, and it'll give you a log at the end of the month.
Oh, awesome.
Something like that might be good to push to volunteers.
So we've talked about a paper log,
Yeah.
but I will talk to you about these apps. They sound wonderful, and it's less paperwork that I have to scan and print and do everything. So, great. Are there any other questions? Okay, perfect. I'm obviously around, usually running around like a crazy person, but let me know if you have any questions, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.